Hello.
How are you?
I'm in survival mode. How are you?
Sorry, I should have waited till I could hear you. What was that?
Oh, I said I'm in survival mode a little bit.
Ah,
I've been with my mom for 10 days and dealing with all the cancer stuff. So,
how's that going?
well, we did get good news, but I mean, for stage 4 cancer, it's not spreading and the markers are going down. But it's been a rough week. So, good to see your face.
Looks like we're already live. So whoever set this up set it up to be a live webinar. Is that right?
I guess so.
I see we got participants in the room, so that's good.
Well, now y'all know where I've been for the last 10 days. So let's see, we got 2 more minutes. Now, are you going to do screen share?
Yeah, I'll screen share a little bit, but I mostly just want us to have a conversation. I don't want to.
No, it's all good.
Dominate it with slides, but I got a handful of slides that kind of cover some of the aging opportunity. So
very good. Yeah, I rely on everyone else to set these things up for me because I don't know how to do it. So
I hear you.
I plead the fifth and claim nothing. Okay, and I have our list of things to go over.
Yeah, I think we had 8. It looked like 80 some register. So don't know how many will be on live, but we've got 8 so far. So that's good.
I know. Hello,
it's more than 0, so that's good. for last minute. So
exactly. Yeah.
Next time we'll have 800. So
hi, Bobby Bell. Now, do you know what to do when people raise their hand down?
I do. Usually what I say is, Bobby, we see you with your hand up, but you need to type something in because we can't hear you. So the Q&A and the chat are what you need to type into if you have a question. Sometimes people are just waving. So, I wave back. So, yeah. But I think sometimes people raise their hand. There may be smaller meetings where people turn their microphones on or something. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, this is set up as a webinar. So
right. We have it set up so we can't even do that. So.
Yeah.
So you gotta type in the chat box if you have a comment. So now Sharon has her hand up. So
hello, Sharon. Welcome. Well, it is 4 o'clock Eastern time, Dan. So do we want to wait another minute or so, or rock and roll?
We can rock and roll. Can you make me a co-host so I can screen share?
Can you tell me how to do that?
Sure. So click on the participants. And then you'll see Dan Ritchie, that's me, and more, and you can make me a co-host.
Yay. It doesn't give me that option. That's no good. I guess that answers the slide.
It should give you that option.
Oh, good God. We're having technical difficulties, y'all. But the content in between our ears is really good, and we're about to share that with you. So, Dan, I guess we're winging it without. Nobody wanted to see slides anyway.
Hold on, let me see here. There should be. Here we go.
Bobby, welcome to the club. I'm not just learning how to do these meetings, but I guess I'm learning how to do them well.
Hold on, I will be right back. I think if I enter as on another link, I will be able to screen share. So hold on, I'll be right back.
All right. So everybody, in the meantime, I will introduce myself. I am Andrea Leonard, and I'm president and founder of the Cancer Exercise Training Institute. And I'm also a 36-year cancer survivor and have spent the last 10 days here in Maryland with my mom, who is 3rd-time breast cancer, stage 4, and I was sharing that a little bit with Dan and just talking about what we've been through this week, but we got some pretty good news, so that was good. Dan, did you figure it out?
No, you still have me blocked, so.
I didn't have you at hello?
Yeah, no, you didn't. So you should be able to click on participants, and why don't you try making me the host? See if it'll let you make me the host. If you click on my name,
okay, Dan Ritchie.
If you go to attendees, click on Dan Ritchie, click on more, you should be able to make me the host.
Okay, there you go. You the host.
All right, sweet.
Now I'll just be a peon.
Now I got all the power.
Yeah, well, I gave a brief introduction, just saying who I was, and so if you want to tell them who you are, and then we
We'll
can
do. We'll do.
we are together.
Cool. Well, thanks everybody for being on live, and I'm sure we're probably going to have another 50 or so watch the recording. Andrea and I are getting together mostly in September to run a 4-week workshop intensive, so you can get your functional aging specialist and your cancer exercise specialist done, completed, finished, certified in 4 weeks, right? Not, oh, how long do I have? Can I have a few more months? No, it's like we're going to walk you through it, hold your hand week by week. So this is just kind of an overview. I'll kind of just give a quick overview, Andrea, of sort of the functional aging training model and the huge opportunity we see, and then you can kind of highlight some of the cancer stuff.
Sounds good.
So, I mean, we all should know by now, and COVID has really heightened the awareness of just how old our country is getting. We're older than we've ever been. And I see that as a huge opportunity. I mean, we're living longer than we ever have. In fact, you look back at the 40s when Social Security came out, life expectancy was 67, right? So Social Security was a great idea. It's going to take care of people for their last 2 years, right? And now we look at that and like, it's almost laughable, right? 67 was life expectancy. I mean, now life expectancy is well into the 70s. In fact, most people we're seeing live into their 80s and even 90s. So Cody's my business partner. Not going to talk about us. We do have an international advisory board. Not going to talk about them either, but we do have a lot of people behind us at the Functional Aging Institute. So longevity really is the big opportunity, and this is where I think functional aging and cancer really come together, because it's no longer that people are going to get cancer and die. It's they're going to get cancer, and how much longer are they going to live, and what is life going to look like after cancer, and how are you going to live really well if you get cancer in your 50s? What are your 60s and 70s and 80s going to look like? And what if you live to 80 and you get cancer? And there's so many implications for living well to 85, 95, 105. And so I always challenge people here, Andrea, to think about how long do you think you're going to live?
Yeah.
It's not something we think about a whole lot.
And I think quality of life is key, obviously. You know, what I've witnessed firsthand just the last 10 days, my mom's going to be 82. She's had breast cancer 3 times and thyroid cancer. And I'd love to say that she was the model student of mine, but she's not. And I've been telling her, you know, okay, you just won the lottery again, because we thought she had metastasis. I mean, it's widespread, but we thought there was a lesion in her hip, which is why I came out here, because I thought my mom was going to have to start radiation and all this other stuff. But I said, all right, look, you know, you got the golden ticket now. How do you want to live the rest of your life? Because I know that through, you know, better diet, that's going to change things. I know that regular exercise is going to change things. And when you mentioned COVID, and we talk about immunocompromisation, which of course is prevalent with people who are going through cancer treatment, but a lot of that can be not remedied, but it can certainly be improved through proper diet, the right amount of sleep, stress management, and boom, exercise. And of course, it all goes hand in hand. So this is definitely a perfect match in terms of qualifications and giving people the skills to, one, make a difference in so many people's lives, but also to create an opportunity for themselves in this very volatile market and world that we're living in right now, to teach them how to build a new business.
Okay, so we've got 19 people on live. I think that counts me and you, Andrea. I want everyone, just pause where you're at. You don't have to close your eyes. You can do this with your eyes open, but I just want you to think for 10 seconds, how long are you going to live? And I'd like you to type that in the chat. And so I'm going to type mine in the chat. Don't do it right away, because I don't want you to influence everyone, but just pause for a second. Just think, this is how old I'm going to live to. And then go ahead and type that in the chat. I'm going to put mine in. Andrea, you can put yours in. You have some number in your subconscious. It could be based on, yeah, you said 93. I said 92. Sharon, 127.
Oh, Sharon.
Good for you, Sharon. We have some numbers sort of in our subconscious. It may be based on how old our grandparents lived. It could be based on how well our parents lived or are living. It could just be some arbitrary number that you think, it'd be cool if I lived to 90 or 100 or whatever it is. So I'll wait a minute. Come on, I want everyone to participate. You don't get to sit back. Kelly's got 98. We've only got one over 100.
Has 127 ever been achieved?
I don't think so. I think 122 is the current record.
Wow.
Unless we
and
talk.
I think my answer is always, it depends. One, I mean, there's so many components. Do you have any family left? Have you watched your children pass away? Did your kids stick you in a home? and you're reliant on everybody else to take care of you. And thus.
Sure. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, we had people who are like, well, heck no, I don't want to live into my 90s because I saw somebody else do that and it was miserable, right? Yeah. And then you go right to my Jim Gaffigan bit, right? Jim Gaffigan, it's funny, we laugh at it, right? But it's ageist, right? He's like, these people in nursing homes in their 90s, they're like, I wish I'd eaten more ice cream, right? Like nobody told me if I ate well, I'd still be here, right? Well, that's a negative view of what it looks like to be 90. What if being 99 is absolutely amazing and you're doing whatever it is you want to do and having a great time, right? Well, then sure, we want to live to 100. And so let's see what else we got. We got a bunch of people either not paying attention or they just don't want to type a number. And Shelly says 89, Kelly 98, Deanna 90s. Be more specific, Deanna. Stephanie 92. So now this is what I always say to people. Now add 15 years to that number, right? So now all of a sudden it's like, whoa, wait a minute, 105, 107. Now the 127, that's probably, now you're 142. So, but a lot of us are actually going to live longer than we ever anticipated. And here's why I say that. The generation right now that we see living longer than ever is already 10 years outliving their life expectancy when they were born, right? So life expectancy shifts. In fact, people that were born in the 50s, their life expectancy was about 65, 67 years old. Well, people born in the 50s, they're now 70. They've already outlived the life expectancy when they're born. They're already into the bonus. So if our life expectancy was around 80, we're going to likely live a lot longer. And so the reason I share that is to make us realize people are going to live longer than ever expected. The question is, are they going to do it really well, right? Yeah. Are they going to really, really do it well? Or are they going to be like, man, why did I live this long, right? We don't want that. So when we look at life expectancy around the world, it's exploding. South Korea is now anticipated to have life expectancy hit the 90s by the year 2030. When you think about life expectancy in the 90s, that absolutely, I don't think we fully understand that, because that brings in all the deaths that happen, right? Infant mortality, get hit by a bus when you're 2 years old, choking, all the childhood diseases, all these things that keep us from a long life factor into life expectancy. And now we're talking people living to 90, which means it's going to be routine for people in Korea to live to 100 if you escape childhood diseases and other accidental causes of death, jumping off a cliff and all these other suicide and all these other things that contribute to life expectancy charts, right? So 90s is absolutely astounding. We've never seen anything like that. 100 years ago, the largest life expectancies weren't even hitting 50, right? And so people are living longer than ever. The United States still falls far behind many of these other countries, but we're still living a really, really long time. And we're seeing an aging explosion. And so when I show the charts, it still is hard to wrap our heads around. 65 and older. In 2010, just 10 years ago, there were less than 40 million people walking around the United States 65 and older, right? It was a minority population. It was a small group. It was still a small percentage that senior discounts and all these things were commonplace, right? Now we're heading to over 80 million people over the age of 65. The population's exploding. We already have 100 million people over 55. And so we're seeing this huge explosion. And then you look at the 85 and older, and this is where I always tell people, Andrea, if you learn nothing else from us, just go buy stock in nursing homes and retirement communities, because it's going to explode. You go back to 1950, there was barely a blip of anyone living over 85. I mean, that was the elderly, right? There was less than 1 million people in 1950 over the age of 85, which is why Social Security was not an issue to be discussed because people weren't living long enough for it to run out of money. Well, now we're going to have over 20 million people. And of course, we know this big uptick is going to be when the baby boomers start turning 85, we're going to see an explosion in that population. So when you think about nursing homes, retirement communities, cancer centers, hospice, funeral homes, all the things that are impacted by people 85 and older, that's going to triple in the next 20 years. Triple, right? It's going to be an absolute huge explosion. So we're right here, sort of at the tip of the iceberg. So this opportunity is not going away. And all the cancer statistics that Andrea shares, basically they're going to double in the next 20 to 30 years. I mean, it's sort of staggering when you think about it. Our population's just getting older because we're living longer than ever. And, oh, by the way, our biggest generations came along in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And so we're living longer than ever. And before long, us Gen Xers are going to be in our 60s too. So
I don't know what gen I am, but I'm getting pretty close.
So, well, how old are you, Andrea?
33. Wait, no,
I was pretty sure you were a Gen Xer. So baby, I'll show the stat on baby boomers. You're not a baby boomer, but the 50 plus population is already 100 million. In fact, the 55 plus population, which are our boomers and our senior generation, our boomers and traditionalist generations, are over 100 million already. And that population is going to continue to grow because guess what? The Gen Xers are coming behind it. There's a huge growth rate coming. So here's the baby boomers, 55 to 73. I don't think this is you, Andrea.
You're by a year. I coughed 53 because I was still thinking 93, but I'm actually 54.
Oh, okay.
So
right.
I'm like right on the cusp.
You were born in 65?
66.
66, yeah. You're a Gen Xer. We'll claim you. So
Yep.
greatest generation ever. So I can say that because I'm a Gen Xer. So we're 80s. I'm an 80s kid. 80s is fantastic. Of course, you're a 70s kid, but so 70.
I hit my prime in the 80s, but that's.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Well, you were a teenager in the 80s, so.
Yeah, I can totally relate to Stranger Things if you've ever watched that.
Oh, absolutely. I love Stranger Things. I love it. Yeah. Stranger Things is almost like my childhood town because
Exactly.
I grew up in Illinois. It's based in Indiana, but it's a small town. I mean, I remember those drugstores and those cases and everything. So boomers were born 46 to 64, right? Largest generation in U.S. history by almost double the previous generation. There were 79 million born. There's still 76 million with us, right? They're not going away, and we anticipate they're still going to be around in huge numbers 20 years from now. So 20 years from now, they won't all be with us, but we'll probably still have somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 million people that will now be 75 to 93. And one thing we've noticed about the baby boom generation is they're a pretty dominant force in the United States society. They're the dominant consumer. They've been dominant in politics and leadership. I mean, my goodness, they've held the presidency since 1992, 28 years now. So huge generation that has had huge impact. So it's a perfect storm when we look at the numbers, the need, the desires, the finances, and the lack of competition, right? There just are not very many fitness programs, personal trainers out there taking care of medical conditions, aging considerations, cancer recovery, stroke recovery. I mean, you name it, all of these things that people deal with in their later years, 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond.
Well, can I throw something in there, Dan?
Absolutely.
And take any of these statistics that you're showing, whether it's 1 million or 70 million or what have you. It's between 1 out of 2 and 1 out of 3 people, depending on what country you're living in, that will get cancer.
Right.
So, the question isn't if, it's when for most people. And
absolutely.
Me being a 36-year survivor and my mom having like 9 lives here, there are some people that obviously have an easier go of it and others don't have a great diagnosis, but the majority of people are going to live. And now it's up to hopefully us to help them live robust quality lives.
Yeah. And with that aging population growing and exploding, I think we're going to see the cancer numbers only grow and explode as well, right?
Unfortunately, I mean, the numbers of cancer diagnoses are only going up, but the
Right.
good news is that so is survivorship. The
Right.
number
Of
people
course.
dying
Yeah.
of cancer
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
going down with
Sure. Better treatment, better diagnosis, better prevention, all of those things.
yeah.
But also, I think as we have more and more people living into their 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, we're going to have more cancer diagnoses. We're going to have more detection. People are living long enough to get cancer in some cases, right? There are some forms of cancer that you're more likely to get if you live into your 70s or 80s. And
Absolutely.
so we're going to see these things. And so we're going to see, and I think this is one of the big overlaps between functional aging training and cancer, is that we're going to see a lot of clients come to us that are unfit and unhealthy. Sometimes they're going to come to us unfit and unhealthy because they got cancer, and that so debilitated them, they lost their fitness, they lost their health, they've not recovered, and they sort of use that as sort of, well, I got cancer, right? And so therefore, but they want to get their fitness and their health back because they want to do things, especially if they've recovered from cancer. Other times we're going to have clients come to us, they haven't had cancer, but they're unfit and they're unhealthy, and they need to do something. They need to get into shape. And this particular client, Joanne, actually had Parkinson's, not cancer, but it was Parkinson's that had debilitated her, right? And so she wasn't really fitness focused. She was life focused, right? You can see here, she went on a trip. She wanted to go to the Galapagos Islands, right? And so we're going to have clients, cancer is such a big incident for people at any age, right? You're 60 and all of a sudden, boom, you get cancer, you got to go on chemo, radiation, whatever the treatment is.
Life upside down.
You come out the other side of it and it's like, I just want to go on a trip. I want to do something. I want to live life again. And you feel like you've had the life kicked out of you, and we have to help these people rebuild. And so that's where I think the functional aging training piece comes in so nicely, and helping people recover from cancer is so critical. Because people do want to do stuff. Here's a physician client of mine, Dr. Summer. He wanted to climb Mount Kilimanjaro with his daughter. He was 58 at the time and not in good enough shape to do it. And he's like, I want this experience, right? And so it was something he wanted to do.
Speaking of Mount Kilimanjaro, do you know Sean Swarmer? Have you heard of him, cancer climber?
No, I have not.
He's probably somewhere around our age, and he was diagnosed, I believe he had childhood cancer. I mean, hell and back. And I think he's climbed every 14er around the world, or something to that effect. I may be saying it wrong, but he's remarkable. And he does a retreat every year. In fact, he's there now, where he takes a group of people to Kilimanjaro. And that's one of the things we're going to do together with him this year, is offer like a scholarship to send somebody out there to go on that trip, which will be
that's cool.
amazing. Yeah. So that, at first I thought that's who your picture was. So that's cool.
Yeah. So this slide, we got cancer on here. The mature market needs fitness. And I haven't even drawn all the lines of connection, but I usually tell people, and I'm going to show the aging trajectory chart. I usually tell people, based on some of the different conditions you have, can impact your trajectory for aging, right? So you can be going along just fine, right? I mean, humming along, fit, healthy, doing great. You're 60 years old and boom, you get one of these conditions, right? Cancer obviously can be a massively debilitating condition and can change and alter your trajectory of aging, especially if you don't do everything you need to do. You can suffer a fall. Even a healthy, fit person could suffer a fall and, break something, dislocate something, break their wrist, all sorts of different injuries from falls. You could be diagnosed with Parkinson's, cardiovascular disease. I mean, I've had super fit, healthy clients. All of a sudden they have a heart attack. It's like, what? Where did that come from? Well, there was some cardiovascular disease lurking. Now they have a triple bypass, and they got to recover from that. They got to bounce back. And so part of what I say is we have to build up reserve, what I call physiologic reserve, to bounce back from these things, right? People who are really fit, healthy, and strong have a much better chance to recover and survive cancer in their 60s or 70s than people that go in unfit, unhealthy, out of shape, obese, deconditioned, that don't have the energy, the muscle mass, any of those sorts of things. Would you agree with that, Andrea?
Oh, absolutely. And it's interesting looking at these two sides, and of course can you back it up for a second?
Yep.
So everybody else knows what I'm talking about. So you look at cancer and some of the comorbidities that go along with cancer treatment, diabetes, osteoporosis, hand in hand with chemotherapy, with
Yep.
corticosteroids. And then when you go to the other side, obesity is commonplace, particularly with hormonal therapy. Granted, we can also have muscle wasting, and then cardiovascular disease from chemotherapy, from radiation. So really, it's more than a double-edged sword when it comes to cancer.
Oh yeah, sure. And I've even heard some links to prolonged chemo and some of the medications to, short-term dementia and people having, the brain fog and all these, like, my brain just doesn't function like it used to, so there are a lot of overlaps in these sorts of things.
With neuropathy, you're going to be more likely to have falls. And then with the osteoporosis, you're more likely to break something. And then you talk about, it's kind of like a lot of older people who have falls and break their hip, many don't recover. Physically and emotionally, it's too much for them. So it just makes, there's no argument that what we're doing is the next big thing. It's just it's not even getting the medical people to buy in or getting patients to buy in per se. It's getting everybody to work together so that the patients or just the general population understands the benefit, not just from what they see in the newspaper or on TV, but they really believe in it, and that their medical team supports it with, the right referral network, which
And you kind of hit on the falling and cancer. One of the concerns with falling is medicines, right? So we know if someone's on 3 medications or more, their fall risk goes up exponentially, and each additional medication, the fall risk goes up. And so if someone's trying to fight off cancer and they also happen to have hypertension and diabetes, now you're talking about a myriad of medications that have to combine and not make you dizzy or have hypotension, or your blood pressure is a little bit off when you get up from a chair, and you're trying to recover from cancer. You're probably not exercising like you should. You're not as strong as you should. You fall, you break your hip, and you're still trying to recover from cancer. It's like just a double whammy, right? And so
they give up hope.
You got a lot of activity behind you, Andrea. I'm not sure what's going on there, but
I know.
it's okay. The mature market already has health issues, right? So, we've got 80% have at least one chronic health condition, 50% have 2 or more, right? And then you throw cancer on top of that, and it's like, oh my goodness, right? They're not well set up to bounce back from it. Right. And so this is why we see people, and I think mistakenly, we see people and we think, well, yeah, they never really bounced back from cancer. Cancer was really hard on them. And we're not really honest. It's like, well, actually, you know what? They went into that cancer diagnosis not fit, overly sedentary, overweight, borderline diabetic, pre-diabetic, maybe even diabetic. The odds were stacked against them for really coming out strong and healthy. And if we're really honest, they're not as healthy as they think they are, right? Yeah. So I love this out of Canada. So I love my Canadian friends, right? 85% say they're not eating their fruits and vegetables. 62% are overweight or obese, right? Not good. Nearly 1 in 5 admit to exercising less than once a week. That basically means they're not exercising, but maybe once a month, right? 30% say they're too stressed. 80% think their doctor would say they're doing just fine, right? They're healthy, right? This is the broken math model of our medical model, right? It's, well, Andrea, your blood work came back, you got a little bit of high blood pressure, but you don't have cancer, you're doing fine, right? And
my father-in-law, literally, I'm throwing him under the bus, but he's got the huge belly thing you get in some cases when you're older. Everything else is skinny, but the huge belly, and he's got to drink at least a bottle of wine a night. And he says, well, my doctor says I'm doing good. I could lose a few pounds.
Oh, yeah. How many times do we hear that? My doctor says I'm doing good. You could probably lose a few pounds.
And your doctor's out there smoking cigarettes and eating a Big Mac.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, unfortunately, our medical care system is so much based on how sick are you, right? And if you're not terribly sick, then you're doing okay, right? Even though we know you're not actually healthy, your doctor probably wouldn't say you're at the top of the chart for health and fitness, but you don't happen to be really sick, so therefore you get a pass, right? And so it's sort of our broken system. When we dig in a little deeper, we realize it's it's really not a good situation. Over half of our older clients aren't moving at all, right? We look at the baby boom population, they're just not active. They have higher rates of hypertension, high cholesterol, diabetes, and obesity. Some of these are comorbidity factors for cancer, right? I mean, we're seeing the obesity epidemic in our boomer population is leading to diabetes and cancer, and those numbers are only going to climb. Yeah, it's like if 65% of that population is overweight to obese, it's like, well, it's sort of like, take your choice, right? Diabetes or cancer, which one do you opt for? Because likely you're going to get one or the other. And so I'm going to stop my slide show here. Yeah, because really our goal is to keep people in the top half, right? We're actually going to redesign this chart, Andrea, because people have a hard time. We put it on an angle. I like it on an angle, but people have a hard time with that. So the elite athlete through the higher independent is where we think people need to stay. Once you slip to lower independent, you're in trouble. And I think too many of our population over the age of 60 are slipping into the lower independent category, and they're not aware of it, right? Because they can still do everything. They're lower independent. They probably can't, go run a 5K like the guy in the semi-fit. They're probably not taking a hike like the higher independent category, but they're still cooking and cleaning, going to the grocery store, doing all their activities of daily living. The problem is their one illness, one incident, one accident, one slip, one injury, one cancer diagnosis from boom, they're pre-frail or frail, right? And again, I think sometimes they get a pass because we're like, oh, well, grandma fell and broke her hip. What do we expect? It's like, well, actually, we should expect that grandma was fit and healthy, and when she fell and broke her hip, she bounced back and recovered and got back to full and normal health. Not that she had to go into a nursing home because she couldn't take care of herself anymore. Not grandma got a cancer diagnosis and she never got her strength back, and now she has to live her remaining years in a nursing home, right? She might have beat cancer, but cancer beat her so bad she lost all her functional ability and her independence, and she can't maintain her activities of daily living.
Yeah, and now she probably just doesn't, just is resolved to, I'm okay if I die in my sleep.
Right, yeah. And so this is why we have to fight hard to keep people in the upper half. They've got to stay higher independent to fully fit, in my opinion. And we're seeing this shift in our population as it gets older and older. 100 million people over 55. It's concerning as we start to see them slip. And I think with COVID, we're seeing this shift too, right? They're not playing bingo, right? Now, bingo and bridge club are not what I call physical activity, but they're not leaving their home, right? Like, they're not getting out and doing their social activities. They're not getting out and doing their normal club activities. They're not playing tennis. They're not playing golf as much. They're not going to Kiwanis. They're not participating, and they're slipping on this hierarchy of functional aging. And that's going to set us up, I think, for the next year or two to see a rise in falls, to see a rise in frailty, to see a rise in some of these epidemic health things that we see in our aging population. We're going to see it accelerated. And that, I think, is why we need even more fitness professionals to be prepared. So
I think teaching everybody how to take it online, how to become virtual, because you can sit here and piss and moan all day long about, I don't have a job, my gym closed, I'm collecting unemployment, and I'm not minimizing that, it's real. But there are also times where you reinvent yourself. And one of the things that we're doing, and I know you too, you have Mastermind, we have Mastermind, and as part of the course, we teach people how to position themselves as the next step in the healthcare continuum. Because a piece of paper, certificate with no help, no advice, no direction doesn't do people much good, if they don't know what to do with it. So, I can't speak for you, but I'm sure that you're of the same mindset that we want to get people out there. We want to teach them how to position themselves, how to start getting medical referrals so that these people aren't just getting lost. And then they can't even go to their doctors. My mom is, sorry, I get the dog scratching. This is working remotely. Hello. Even going to doctors, everything's on the phone unless it's an emergency. So there's no contact. And I mean, I see just in my mom's neighborhood, and this is a normal residence it's not a senior, it's not even a senior community, but there's a lot of older people. And, you know, every day somebody's going to the hospital or this or that.
Yeah.
Nobody's taking care of themselves, and they don't know that there's somebody out there that can work with them. They don't know that there's a different way that they can be living. So we need to be able to reach out to them and jump into their homes and be their inspiration and their motivation.
Yeah, sure. No, absolutely. Well, I want to show two more graphics here that just kind of drive home what I think trainers need. Let's see if I can get this showing here. Well, screen sharing and chatting at the same time. Not
I'm sorry,
like chewing gum and walking.
So.
But I think I can get it here. So here we go.
At least you have less distractions.
Let's see if this works. Okay, can you see that?
Yes, pretty.
So this is kind of the functional aging training model in a nutshell. The human is standing here in the middle, physical function, right? All the things that we train in our functional aging specialists. So we believe people need some musculoskeletal, they need some neuromuscular, cognitive, mobility, balance, and cardiorespiratory. And we actually argued no matter what happens to you, you know, whether it's a stroke, cancer, an injury, each of these areas can be affected, right? So my cognitive, emotional, my motivation piece and confidence piece could be huge coming off of cancer, right? Because I don't have the strength to do what I used to be able to do. I don't, you know, I've lost certain abilities, and in some cases it's like I've lost the motivation in some cases to even live, right? It's like, well, if I can't get back to what I used to do, then why continue? And the neuromuscular piece for a lot of people can be huge, motor control and coordination. It's not just I got to get stronger, which is, of course is critical for people too, but there's 6 different domains of function that we think are critical. And of course, each of these are complex in and of themselves, right? They go deeper and deeper and deeper. And so we have more courses if you want to get even more developed on power training and things like that. But I'll just end with the funny stuff, right? And then we can do Q&A, and if people want to ask questions, you know, type them in. But
so funny.
In and of itself, I always say, look, we have negative views of aging, right? We have negative views of cancer. We have negative views of stroke recovery. We have negative views of what it's like to grow older. In fact, I think a lot of us think, well, cancer's for old people, right? I don't have to worry about that, right? And it's really not true. But if we look at, and my favorite is Farty, by the way. So that's my kids. It's my kids' favorite too. So they think that one's pretty funny.
Awesome.
So
Leaky's pretty good too.
Yeah, we think negatively about old age. We just do, right? And if we look at this survey, people 18 to 64, they're ageist, right? We think, oh, well, people over 65 are absolutely experiencing memory loss. 57% of us 18 to 64 think people over 65 are dealing with memory loss. Only 25% report they are. Not able to drive. Now, I'm not talking about like how good a driver you are. I'm talking about they've had their driving privileges taken away, right? Because of vision or stroke or something, right? We think half of people over 65 have had their driving privileges revoked. Only 14% have. It's typically people over 85, and it's typically a vision or a response time, you know. So it's much, much less. A serious illness. People 18 to 64, overwhelmingly, I mean, like almost half of us just think to be over 65 means you have cancer, right? Or you have cardiovascular disease, or you have a stroke, you know, you're sick. Only 21% have a serious illness, right? So cancer certainly is a big one in there, and cardiovascular diseases too, but actually those statistics aren't much higher for people over 65 as they are 18 to 64. I mean, we just had a 19-year-old in my town sadly die of testicular cancer. People 18 to 64 get cancer at about the same rate as people over 65, right? But we don't think that way, right? We think 18 to 64, we think, oh, well, cancer's for old people.
I had it when I was 18.
Right, exactly. It's not to be, in fact, the 21% serious illness is not significantly higher than even serious illnesses in people 18 to 64, right?
Yeah,
this one cracks me up, Andrea, because it doesn't make sense, right? So 18 to 64-year-olds, memory loss, 57%, not sexually active, 34%, right? Not able to drive, 45%, but we think they're still having sex. I'm like, they're lying. 18 to 64-year-olds. This one doesn't even make sense. 42% are seriously ill, but 34% are not sexually active. It doesn't even add up. Doesn't make sense. But here's the reality. 79% are still getting it on, right? So only 21% report they're not sexually active. So our views even of sex are wrong as young people. Feeling sad or depressed, only 20%, not statistically higher than young people at all. In fact, a lot of people find their 60s and 70s the happiest time of their lives. Not feeling needed. Look how ageist we are. Almost a third of us think, well, yeah, old people must not feel needed. They must feel useless. Only 9% feel that way.
I have to tell you, Dan, on these last couple, I would probably have picked those blue bars.
Sure.
Also.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
Yeah,
we have negative views of what it must be like to experience life 65 plus, right? And so I like closing with this because we have to re-examine what we think about life and living longer, and also realize what we believe life in your 60s must be like misses the mark tremendously, right? I mean, being a burden. Oh, well, 24% of us think older people must feel like they're a burden. Only 10% feel that way, right?
Well, and I guess in my mind, I'm thinking we're talking about people in their 80s or 90s, because it's hard for me to believe that in 11 years I'll be 65. So like, we must be talking about really old people.
Right, really old. Yeah, no, we're just talking about 65 plus. And the depressing thing is actually how sexually active they are compared to us that are younger. So
those of us that have to work and take care of kids.
It's like, oh my goodness. So
my goal at 65 and 70 is to be still snowboarding and skiing and après skiing and paddle boarding and all of it. Because when that's gone, I mean, I'll go to a snowmobile and then maybe I'll go to snowshoes, but I got a long way before that happens.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing clients have joint replacements so they can continue to ski, right? And it's kind of the reverse of what we used to think. It used to be like, oh, well, you have to have your hip replaced, so therefore you're not going to ski anymore. It's like, no, I want to have my hip replaced so I can continue to ski, right? So my hip doesn't bother me when I'm skiing. We're seeing people do more lifetime sports longer and longer, and water skiing, downhill skiing, paddle boarding, all these things are things you can really do into your 90s. I mean, Banana George Blair is an excellent example of a guy water skiing in his 90s. Now he was a great water skier. He's a professional water skier in his adult age. I probably won't aspire to water ski in my 90s because I'm terrible at it in my 40s, right? But he was really good at it. So he continued to water ski even into his 90s. And this is how good he was, Andrea. He barefoot water skied in his 90s. Barefoot water skied. So obviously someone who is very good at water skiing. You will never see me barefoot.
Like there's nothing holding your feet in?
No skis. No skis. He was water skiing barefoot. I mean, you got to be a pro to water ski barefoot. Yeah, that's next level.
Experience is water skiing, and I'll stick to the snow. Thank you.
People drop to one ski. They're better than me. I can water ski on 2 skis, but people drop to 1 ski so you can slalom. People that are professionals and really know how to do all the tricks and stuff, they can water ski barefoot. That's next level stuff. And he was doing that in his 90s, so bit of a show off, you could say. So.
Well, I'm looking over to the side, Dan, trying to get my internet on my phone isn't working well, but I wanted to tell everybody about what we're doing starting next Monday. The 24th.
24th, yeah.
Find the Facebook.
Yeah, Sharon says 65 is the new 40. It's an interesting comment, Sharon. I don't know. I don't know how old you are, Sharon, so but it makes me wonder. So I think, yes, perfect.
Tell everybody to join us on this CESFAS Kickstart, where you guys get to work with us for a week and just pick our brains, and we're going to share with you what we know. You have to go in to Facebook groups and type it in just like this and ask to join. And please answer the questions, otherwise you won't get admitted. Sorry.
I will pull that up right now. I've got it here. See if I can share that. So Yeah, it's a Facebook group. Anybody's welcome to join. It does have the calendar here. So Monday, August 24th, 1:30 Eastern. I'll be going over the biggest opportunity in fitness history. Tuesday, Andrea is going to be doing exercise and its effect on cancer prevention. So we've got a whole week there. All of that is totally free, right? We're just like giving that away.
Totally free.
I don't know how Andrea talked me into giving all this stuff away for free. So the whole week, Monday the 24th through Saturday the 29th, a whole bunch of free
See that
topics.
smirk on my face, Dan? That's how
I do see that. Yeah, I do see that. So how many people we got in here already? Do you know? Is it 100?
I think it's around, I thought it was around 100.
Yeah, I think it's around 100. I don't know if it tells me here somewhere.
Oh, it's 119. So
okay, cool.
Let's make it 100. Let's make it 200 by the time everybody watches this webinar.
Yeah, if you're not in there, definitely find the group. It is CES/FAS Kickstart.
Yeah, and I think if you just type it into the search engine like you have up there,
you'll find it.
And then just, I don't know where it is, you have to ask to join. So you will learn very quickly. Well, Dan already is figuring this out, but I am not the tech person.
I'm not either. I'm impressed I was able to find the Facebook group at all, and I'm a member, so but I found it. So, and we've got a pretty nice lineup there of free content the whole week, and then that's going to kickstart into our basically 4-week, what I call sort of mini university.
Well, somebody said to me, because we were calling it a kickstart, they're like, this is really an immersion program. I said, all right, I'll use immersion. I mean, we're throwing you in there, but we're there with you, through the course of time, because I think we both have home study options, and it's great. You can go at your own pace, but a lot of people are just like, I need that extra push, or, they want that interaction. They want to be able to ask questions. And you guys as a community, in this, this Kickstart group, and then those of you who go into kind of the university or
well, your certification is similar to ours. I'm sure if people hunker down and do a full day workshop with you, they wind up completing the course in a matter of a week, right? Because it's like, oh, I did the workshop, I'm halfway through it, I'm gonna finish. I have people take the live workshop, and I'm like, just go ahead and take the first exam. Let's start plugging, get the thing done. Yeah. When you do the online, it's like, I can do it next week or next month or whenever. Oh, I'll get to it. And, I'll do it that long Thanksgiving weekend. And I mean, and then what happens is, and we allow a 6-month deadline. I don't know what the deadline is. Is that what it is on your course?
Now we can tell people, because people always ask me, how long do I have with FAS? And I'm like,
so what do we hear? 2 weeks left. Oh, I only have 2 weeks left. Is there any way I can get an extension? I'm like, what have you been doing for 5.5 months? So now we're going to hold your hand for 4 weeks. We're basically going to take you through the content, week by week, day by day. So there's almost no excuse for you to not finish and complete the course. So nice bonus. You get both courses.
And that's a lot of CEUs also, because I think depending on the organization, we probably each offer about 2.0 or 20 or, somewhere around there. How many is FAS?
FAS is 10 plus 8 for the workshop. And so because I'm going to deliver the whole workshop online, they're going to get, anybody that does this is going to get 18 from us.
Yeah, and then they'll get another 20. I mean, it just depends, it's 1.9, 2.0.
Yeah, I mean, in most cases, they're going to get a whole year's worth of CEUs from us and then some. So
yeah, absolutely. Well worth the money. And we've got a great package. And then also, we included, I think the Tai Chi is also getting included in that, if I remember correctly, in the full package as a bonus.
I don't remember, honestly.
Pretty sure.
I don't remember. Don't hold me to that right now, because we'd have to go back and look at what all we're offering.
We'll come back at you with that, when we start our Kickstart group. But should we open it up to questions if anybody?
Yeah, for sure.
Burning that they want to know.
Definitely, let's do it.
So Jansen Moser just wrote and was talking about 4 to 5 weeks or whatever to do the CETI. Jansen is amazing. She designed these You may see them on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn. She made these amazing lymphedema rack cards.
Mm.
And she's been personalizing, she makes it so people can go. She created a website where people can go and use a whatever you call it, pre-made brochure that she did, or these rack cards, and put their name, their business. And these are all the types of things that we can offer you guys, not just the piece of paper, but tools to build your business without having to reinvent the wheel, which takes a lot of time and a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would say between the two of us and our two courses, you're probably looking at about 30 to 35 hours of content study to complete them. And what we're going to do with this 4-week, I like immersion, we're basically going to walk you through every day, 5 days a week, an hour of the courses, right? So if you can commit an hour a day to work with us, over the course of 4 weeks, we're going to get you through 20 hours. We're going to hold your hand through 20 hours. So really, if you do a little bit of work on the weekends, by the end of the 4 weeks, you'll be done with both courses. Worst case scenario, you're just 2/3 of the way through both courses, and then you have to finish. But our goal is for people to get through both courses, get both certifications by the end of the month.
Well, and the other cool thing, and Dan, you can talk about anything. I'm not sure exactly, what happens after they get their FAS certification, but we, Catherine Schmitz, who is the most recent past president for the American College of Sports Medicine, who's also on our advisory board, just asked me if we would be willing to list all of our cancer exercise specialists on their Moving Through Cancer directory. So not
cool.
only are they going to get listed on the CETI site, but they'll also get listed on ACSM's site. And I have a call in a couple hours with Ken Germano, who used to be the president of ACE, and we're going to be talking about, he's got a group of oncologists that want to start kind of call it a trial program, if you will, where we have a certain number of doctors that are working with some of our cancer exercise specialists and moving their patients through the program. So I know you're doing amazing things in the industry also. I don't know if you have anything in particular you want to share, but I do feel like people are getting a lot more than just a title.
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, they do get in our directory as well. Functional aging specialists, we're in, 21 countries now. And we have people every week reaching out, asking for trainers in different states. So that's huge. But yeah, having ACSM add that piece to it, that's great. Because that's another thing, is people need to know that these qualified professionals are out there. And that is another piece that I will be adding to the 4 weeks is the marketing piece. And we'll be giving away, this is one of the bonuses we're giving away to everyone, this book here, the How to Get 50+ Boomer Fitness Clients Fast, right? And we talk about marketing strategies and how I'm not going to say anything bad about the cancer exercise specialist, but here's the thing. You can be a cancer exercise specialist. If nobody knows, it doesn't matter. It's like you're hiding under a rock, So one of the things we teach people is how to use your credentials to set yourself apart, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you're a functional aging specialist if no one in your market knows what that means, So that's another thing that we will cover. And I'll cover that a little bit in that bonus week, but we'll for sure in the 4 weeks we'll cover, and we will actually mail out this book to everyone that participates. So these are our strategies for how we market to clients. It's a 64-page book. You can read it literally in like an hour, and it's our best resources on how to market. So once you become a cancer exercise specialist, then what does that mean? How do I market? How do I get referrals? How do I get clients? How do I get people that have recovered from cancer? So I always say we want people to learn, get our credentials, get our certifications so they can help more people, but you can only help more people if they know you exist. So marketing is important, right? I always say getting that next certification does not get you the next client. It doesn't. Getting that next certification and then communicating that to your marketplace, why it matters, helps get you that next client.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that what's that?
I was just saying, do we have any questions?
I think so.
I'm not seeing any. They have no questions to ask. So
well, that's okay. They can come into the Kickstart and ask them then.
Yeah, absolutely. So get signed up for that Facebook group. That week is totally free to you. No reason not to do that.
So Angela's asking how to sign up for that Facebook group. So Angela, if you will go to Facebook and then let me try and find it because Dan probably clicked
Yep,
it.
Sharon just signed up. Yep, go to Facebook and search
Search for that.
CES/FAS.
Yep, and just ask to join, and we will let you in. Awesome.
I'm gonna put that page in the chat here.
Oh yeah.
So you can copy that link, Angela, to find that in Facebook.
And
I think to be part of a Facebook group, you do have to have a Facebook account. There are some things you can do on Facebook without a Facebook account. But
I mean, I know a lot of people have an aversion to it, but just join it to use the groups. I mean, you don't have to do all the social media stuff.
Right. You don't have to let anybody know that you're on Facebook. You can even use a pseudo name if you want to. So,
however, I would recommend it, if nothing else, just for business purposes. I mean, you've got to attack your social media.
I agree. I agree.
You know, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, that's
Kelly Frederick just joined, accepted the invite. Great. Awesome.
Somebody was just asking a question. I can't get it open now. Oh, there it is. Stephanie Allen's asking, how do we access the recorded version of this session? It should be sent out. I don't know if it'll go out tonight or tomorrow, but anybody who's on the mailing list, which you guys obviously are, will get the recording of that.
Perfect. Awesome.
Share it with your friends. And what do you think, Dan? Do we have any kind of incentive we can offer people for, you know, if they refer somebody and they actually sign up for the course? Do you think? I mean, I can tell you things that I would do, and it doesn't include anything X-rated, but.
That's good to know. I was thinking a steak dinner. Obviously, you were thinking something PG-13. So, no, I mean, if you refer someone, I'm cool with $100 credit or some sort of a bonus.
50
so
from me, 50 from you. So
yeah.
They have to sign up for the whole shebang. You know, and the payment goes through, you get $100. So that's $100 off your course. So if you guys get a handful of people to register with you, your training is free.
Cool.
The program, Ricardo is asking, when is the program starting? So Ricardo, the Facebook Kickstart is the 24th of
August 24th. Yep. That whole week, August 24th.
And then, Dan, I don't have it right in front of me. Do you happen to know the dates that we start the immersion program?
I don't have it in front of me either. I want to say it's September 1st. I'm looking at the calendar, but I'm not totally positive on that. So, but we'll certainly release those dates soon. But August 24th through 29th is the free week.
Yeah, it does start. I think it does start on, it's the first week of September. I have Andrea Dan.
Yeah, okay.
I'm assuming that's the week. Either
that would be the week. That would be the week.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody else?
Cool.
Okay. Well, thanks
for
being here with us, guys. And you're welcome to share the link once you get it for this the recorded version of this webinar, and then invite people to the Kickstart group, because that's free. There's no commitment. And then, after that, they can see what it's all about. You can sign up with them and get your training paid for.
Cool.
Angela's asking about sending the Facebook group. She can't find it. I think you just posted it. Angela, look up 2 more posts. Can everybody see these posts?
They should, yeah. She should be able to see that link. You should be able to click on that Facebook link and it should take you there. If not,
yes,
send us.
Karen, and this is a good question, Dan. So there are going to be people who are FAS who want to just do the CES. There are going to be CESs who just want to do the FAS. So in fact, Dan and I will collaborate and we'll come up with a special deal for you guys who just want one or the other. So Angela, if you'll just go to Facebook and in the search bar, just type in CES/FAS Kickstart.
Here, I see what happened. We have a chat set. Sorry about that, Angela. We have a chat setting.
Here, I'm going to copy and paste it and send it to you.
See if you can get it now, Angela. We have a chat setting not letting people see the chat. They're only seeing their own chat. So, okay. Angela, you should be able to see it now. I chatted it directly to you. Got it. Perfect. Good. That link should take you to the Facebook group. But yeah, next time we do one of these webinars, Andrew, we got to make sure the chat is public. Not sure why.
Yeah,
There must have been a
it's not
setting on.
good that when two people who don't really know what they're doing in regards to technology are doing a webinar together.
Oh, I thought we knew exactly what we were doing, but yeah, there's a setting in Zoom where you can set the chat so people can't see other people's chat. They can only see the panelists. So,
well, here's another thing, guys, and this is Dan. You probably have an easy one too, but you can reach me at Andrea@thecancerspecialist.com. So if you need any of these links, easy, Andrea@thecancerspecialist.com, and then I can just email you directly if you're having a difficult time navigating the chat.
yeah, we'll make sure when we do that free week, Andrew, we have the chat visible for everyone. There's just a setting on the Zoom webinars where you can have the chat hidden, so we can see all the chat. We're seeing all everybody's chat comments, but they're not seeing it. Yeah, lots of good chat. They're not seeing it because it's hidden from them. So, but that's too bad for them today, but we got to see it also. We got to see it also.
Well, guys, plenty of opportunity out there for you guys. Hey, Tracy, good to see you here. Share it with your friends. You know, a lot of people struggling right now, trying to figure out what they're going to do. And then there's a lot of human beings out there that we're talking about that need help. So, you know, what was your slogan? Need, demand, niche market. You had something like one of your first slides. I mean, basically there's
the need, the desire, the finances, the numbers are huge, and then there's a lack of competition. There just aren't that many people out there doing this. So
want to do bodybuilding and work with the young pretty people, and it's
absolutely right. Yeah,
aren't
right.
going to pay the bills.
Yeah, no, they're not. They're absolutely not. They never have paid the bills, which is why people don't stay in the personal training industry, because it's just not a great job if you're not focused on the retired market. You have to have clients from 6 a.m. to noon, right? You got to have your day filled. And guess what? Working people aren't going to work out at 10 a.m., 11 a.m., noon, 1 o'clock, you know. So.
And the great thing, just to wrap this all up with, they get 3 directory listings. And we are in 35 countries, and I know you're rapidly growing. We're all rapidly growing. I mean, you guys will have exposure all over the world. You're not limited to here anymore. You work from anywhere. So
anywhere, yeah, anywhere, anytime. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, thank you, Dan.
Well, cool. All right, well, we will see everyone August 24th when we kick off.
We'll work out all the technical difficulties.
All right, see ya.
Have a good night. Bye.